Dr. Veritas Ratio, the man, the myth, the legend, the individual that single-handedly, in my opinion, became the catalyst that started a huge controversy for Genshin players regarding rewards and endgame content, because Genshin could never... I swear that meme has been all over my fucking Twitter, but I just had to use it, even though I feel it's already way fucking overused. But in all honesty, this individual released not too long ago. I think it's only been 2 weeks at best since his release, because his banner's still out there. And he genuinely has become one of my favorite characters in the entire fucking game. Not only because his gameplay is so much fun to me personally, but the design of his kit, his storyline, and the flavor design are just absolutely perfect. Whoever cooked on the Hoyoverse kitchen, the props to the chef, genuinely. With that in mind, let us look into why Dr. Ratio was perfectly designed. To start off, we have our 3 categories in gameplay, flavor, and impact, with flavor being the biggest factor, and it is very biased on my own opinion, so do take those things with a grain of salt. Now, if you want to learn more about these categories, I do encourage you to check out my video on the best designed characters, where I explain these categories more in depth. But to give you a short breakdown, this is essentially what they are. Gameplay refers to their kits, their power, their synergies, anything of actual gameplay, as obviously stated. Flavor is most of the things that are not related to gameplay. These would be things such as animations, voice lines, text messages. It's things that give more life to the character or just that feel great to see from the character. And I know it is the most objective one, so again, do take it with a grain of salt. And I would love to hear debates about my opinions, and I would love to hear you guys' opinions as well. I encourage it, I love the discussion. So yeah, finally, impact, which would refer to the things that essentially is from them in the story. What kind of impact they have had in the story, or just for the narrative of the lore. I just feel like it's important with these characters. Now, mind you, this isn't a lore video, so we won't go too in depth into like their entire stories, but we will mention a few things here and there. Now, with all that being cleared up, let us begin talking about all we know about the Good Doctor. Dr. Ratio is a member of the Intelligentsia Guild, who follow Nous, the erudition. They are sponsored by the IPC, which is just very surprising, given the fact that the IPC follow Clipoff, the Preservation, which is a completely different Aeon and a different path, so that is just most intriguing to me personally. I guess it just makes sense, since the Preservation would want to preserve and keep the knowledge of the world safe, so that it is not tarnished. People learn from their mistakes. Those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it kind of moment. I don't know, that's just a theory, I guess. So, I don't know. It's just most intriguing. However, though he is a member of the Intelligentsia Guild, don't assume that he follows their same values. Unlike the Genius Society, who were chosen by Nous themselves, the Intelligentsia Guild are members who believe in the Aeon but treat knowledge as a form of currency, while Dr. Ratio, on the other hand, finds the lack of knowledge to be a disease that needs to be cured. And he sees himself as a scholar, but more importantly, he sees himself as a doctor, hence his name being Dr. Ratio. Also, you gotta admit that the fact that he did that whole little hijack of the livestream was very cool, so I will give him props for that. He also holds the Genius Society in high regard, expressing a lot of praise for both Herta and Ruan Mei, despite him not agreeing much with their methods, or maybe thinking that their developments may not be the best, but he still respects them. He even has some respect for Screwlum despite genuinely disagreeing with his perspectives about his own planet. He sees him as an emperor, which is quite surprising if I do say so myself. But he still acknowledges that he is a genius. He he's a member of the society. And you can even say that, in fact, he wants to be a part of the Genius Society, and we can see this in his voice lines. The first one being for the first meeting.
I am Dr. Ratio, a scholar and teacher of the Intelligentsia Guild, and one of the mediocres. If one day your brain shows symptoms of dullness, then please give the doctor a call.
And his voice line when he reaches the max level.
If this day I have not gained the recognition of Nous, it stands to reason that I never will at any point in the future.
These voice lines genuinely show that he wants to be acknowledged and praised for his work by a higher being, holding high expectations and goals onto himself, and he even considers himself mediocre for not being acknowledged by Nous yet. It's quite surprising though, as how you can even hear the sound of disappointment in his voice when he, supposedly has reached his peak, and yet still is not accepted into the society. I just find that to be a cool little detail, in my personal opinion. And to a certain extent, you can kind of see that he holds hatred to those around him, because he doesn't want to be a part of it. He wants to aim for higher, and the fact that he's stuck with them is probably what makes him even more furious. And you can further see this at the end of the Trailblaze mission Continuance, in his encounter with Skrulum, where he even takes the time to berate the average space station researcher and the members of the guild. I personally found that detail to be honestly quite intriguing, and I don't know, to a certain extent it does show that Dr. Ratio has feelings, even if he is very stubborn and has a very, very aggressive and fuck you attitude going on for him, you know? Nonetheless, he will still probably find a way to insult you if he absolutely despises you or if he thinks that you're dumb. So in order to improve your intellect and to prevent you from getting insulted by Dr. Ratio, be sure to click that subscribe button. It is free, it only takes a second, I promise you won't regret it. And if you ever feel like I'm not the type of content creator that is suited for you, you can always unsub. So yeah, thank you for your support, you guys. Genuinely, on the last video, I've just really appreciated, and I want to take this quick time to genuinely say thanks for all the kindness, all the support, all the amazing messages. Y'all are genuinely the best. Sorry for the random subscribe plug, but moving on with the video actually. So yeah, we also know that Dr. Ratio just loves using a plaster head in order to conceal his face, and honestly this is evident because in both interactions that we first see him, being when we are in that room with Asta and Skrulum, as well as right before the big boss fight against that stupid freaking bug that just refuses to die, crush controls you all the fucking time, and it is such a massive sorry about that. I do not know what has gotten into me. I just really must be a lot of stress. But in all honesty, I just really hate that stupid annoying little beetle. And yeah, back to Dr. Ratio. We also know that, like he genuinely just likes using the plaster head on his free time because we have voice lines such as about self, headpiece.
First, with the headpiece on, isolated from my five senses, I can think without interference. And second, I don't have to set my eyes on stupid people. Of course, they don't want to see me either.
I personally adore the inclusion of like that second part of his voice line where he himself says he doesn't want to see stupid people, because he also says that in the Trailblaze mission, and the fact that he repeats it here just makes it so perfect for me, especially because this entire thing just gets amped up to 11 by his next voice line in hobbies.
Oh, I can't stay away from books and bathtubs, especially the former. When one's head is stuffed with filth, one's body is no cleaner.
Like, legitimately, I don't know, but it just genuinely makes it sound like he finds those who he deems as idiots and dumb. like as filthy, despicable. Like he just genuinely has a level of hatred for them, because if they are like not good in the sense of like the mind, then they're not clean at all. And I want to say that this also just goes like so much up to 11 in that kind of regard, since he literally loves to take baths, and I feel like if he's interacted with so many people that he considers filthy, he probably takes a lot of baths. And like that just takes like that whole hand washing meme to a whole new fucking level. Dr. Ratio just like, nah, fucking, I need a whole body cleanse. So I don't know. I just, with like all this knowledge, I genuinely just find it so fitting that in the first interaction with the Trailblazer, he keeps that Plaster Head on, and he only removes it in future cutscenes, like when we're debating with him, when we're trying to prove our innocence, that we're not guilty. And throughout the debate, even though he does look down at us, we are able to successfully defend ourselves. Throughout that point, his tone of voice starts to change. He starts feeling less condescending. He starts actually acknowledging what you're trying to say. And it is because he values truth above all else. Because that is knowledge to him. Knowledge is the absolute truth. And I find that to be an amazing detail for his character design. And yeah, that's like most of the things that I genuinely like adore right now, just from like, again, like just his design. We haven't even touched the gameplay, which by the way, I find it to be like wild, because it's taken me this long to start talking about his freaking kit. And in the page that I'm looking at, because I made a script, this is the 4th page. So I am scared for editing Manny. If you can hear me, which I know you are, because, you know, it's me in the future, I am sorry, and good luck. But yeah, anyways, I feel like we have mentioned as much as possible of what came to mind in regard of his impact, and how the design flavor is just so amazing for him in that aspect. But in all honesty, his gameplay and the flavor that is accompanying that kind of design is just beyond perfect in my opinion, and it might be one of my favorite freaking things in Dr. Ratio's entire kit. So let's head on with it. As stated before, we know that Dr. Ratio has a massive fucking ego. He can back it up, but he has the ego. So it is no wonder that he does more damage the more debuffs an enemy has. He is literally looking down on an enemy and hits them harder for that reason. The fact that he even says like voice and it's just like, fail, get out, and 0 points, next. It's just freaking wonderful. I know I could have used the voice clips, the actual voice clips from Dr. Ration. I probably sound like a fucking gremlin there. But it's just, I adore hearing him fucking say that, and I adore just like saying it myself whenever I'm deleting an enemy. It just feels fucking amazing, and I adore it. So it just genuinely feels like I'm adding insult to injury to the enemies, but it just yeah, you can tell that I have a very big bias. But on top of that, like this also goes like with the like his attack animations and how well they like designed it all, where literally he tries to stay as far away from the enemies as possible due to him being like obsessed with cleanliness, as we like established before. Like the only moment he ever approaches an enemy is when your party have 0 skill points and you have to use a normal attack, because more often than not, when you have the choice to use a skill with Dr. Ratio, you want to use it to do the massive follow-up attack damage. And even then, when he does get close to attack an enemy, he uses his Codex, which, again, fucking perfect, because one of his idle animations is literally him trying to clean the fuck out of it. Like, you see him scrubbing it so many times until it is looking shiny and clean. On top of that, you know, speaking of the whole, like, fail, get out, and 0 points, next kind of voice line, the fact that when he is getting healed, he also takes the time to give points blows my mind away. When he gets like healed, he goes like, "Oh, good, 5 points." And like when he was revived, he's like, "Oh yeah, thank you, 10 points." Like, excuse me, but like, what the fuck? Like, hold on, like I just resurrected you back from the dead because I picked that one particular destruction blessing, and all you give me is 10 points. I don't know. I personally feel insulted, and I'm the one adoring him and playing him. But I digress. The other thing that I do like as well is like how, from his text messages, he low-key also has like a nature of interrupting others, and legitimately, it's because like more he just feels like he has more important things to say, or what he's gonna say carries more value, which is literally what he does when he uses his ultimate. Where literally, you can have an ally attacking, and what will he do? As soon as the ally is done attacking, he's gonna interrupt the next turn to beat the fuck out of the enemy. So I'm just like, it's just glorious. It's just like, oh, like, you just hit the enemy, let me add on to that. Hold on, fuck you. It's just, I don't know, the fact that he just yeets chalk at an enemy has me fucking crying and cracking up, and it's just, I fucking adore this character. And again, I feel like it goes without saying, but if you, at any point you think that he doesn't have an ego problem, or, because he has this ego, he can back it up because he has like, so much smarts, I would like to remind you that his technique literally spawns statues of himself doing silly little poses that could literally be like JoJo poses, his little card poses, like it's just wonderful. There's even a flexing one. Like, he has a statue of himself flexing like a fucking athlete, raising his fucking body. You can't tell me this man doesn't have an ego problem. So yeah, with that being said, I rest my fucking case. But yeah, honestly, this video has been like so much fun. I've been adoring looking in depth at everything I could for Dr. Ratio. Again, this is not supposed to be a lore video, so I didn't try to go too deep into things. What I did find on my little research is that apparently there's canonical IPC, not IPC, Intelligentsia Guild member called Oppenheimer. Yes, he's one of like the people that like make prints or something. And if you want to know where he is, he's one of the people on the Dan Hong and Bibber Lune trailer. So that's a little bit of a fun trivia. Oppenheimer's canonically in Honkai Star Rail, but not really. And yeah, I don't know, I do adore how they have done like an amazing job. Like the game developers for Star Rail, I feel like we're getting spoiled. And I love the fact that they listen to the community. I love the fact that they just go all the way. Also, this goes for story writers. I forgot to like mention it, and I have it on the script. But yeah, like both game devs and story writers have like designed so well the characters. Every little detail is noticeable, and it just blows my mind that they've been able to pay that much attention to detail. And I don't know, I feel like that's just what makes me adore those games so much, and what makes me want to just not only like keep playing it, but like get immersed into the world itself. But yeah, with that being said, thank you very much for watching this video. I would also like to remind you all that we currently have a giveaway going on Twitter, which I'm going to be linking down in the description below. Because of all you guys' support, as stated before, we are expanding it to 3 supply passes. Currently, we have reached 250 subscribers, and you know what? If we reach 300, I will expand that as well to 5 supply passes. So yeah, I don't know. I just want to thank the community, thank the people. Like you all have just been like absolutely wonderful and amazing. I'm like really happy, like for all the kind messages and how amazing this little corner of the community for Honkai Star Rail is. So yeah, once again, I appreciate you all and thank you for letting me get the confidence to start this series. And thank you in particular to my girlfriend, because without her, I wouldn't have been able to actually get that first boost to post that first video. I wouldn't have been able to mention how much Yanqing grew on me, because Yanqing is her son and she adores him, and I learned to adore him too. Every little detail about him. And yeah, I don't know. It's just been wonderful. So thank you very much. With all that being said and done, I'm like dragging on this video for probably longer than I should be. I hope you'll have an amazing rest of your days, night, morning, whatever time zone you're in currently watching this video. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.